Yeah, check 1 2. Check check 1 2. Yep. Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
Okay. There we go. Here we go. So today we got to going to try to do things a little bit differently. We're gonna do the, the Norwegian live stream in English. How about that, guys? And I see you guys are already up and playing in the chat. We like it. We like it. I just have to get it on my mobile phone so we can see what's going on Facebook. Let's see here. And we have audio on Facebook. That's good. We have Martin. We have Alexander. Edward. Yeah. Check mic 1 2 3. Yes, that's what we're doing. Welcome to everybody. Bea, nice. Alex, so great to have you all on board. And on YouTube, wow, I have to scroll here now to see where. So Alexander, he was the first one, and then we got the legend himself, Thomas from Krypta. Ken is here. SS Telegram, let's go. Yeah, I agree. Adrian, Martin, yeah. Espen, Karina from the windy parts of Norway. How are you guys doing over there? Are you holding on? And then we have Alex. He is a little bit curious about miners DeFi. Well, we should look into that on another stream. And then we have Mats, our low cap trading king. He's pretty excited about this Harmony 1. Yeah, and BF English edition. Yes, that's true. That's what we are doing. And then we have Sölvi, our good looking girl in the chat. And everybody is enjoying new all-time highs. That's all I can see in the chat here. Yeah, we got it. And then we have Dim Sung from Gjøvik. And let's see, do we have a camera as well? Yeah, well, here I am. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this live stream from Norway. I believe we got some ordinary. In the ordinary, we used to just to take this in Norwegian, but sounds because I know we have some English-speaking people tapping into the live stream, especially on YouTube. I want to sincerely welcome you guys. If you want to do something cool, you can hit the subscribe button. And if there are a lot of English people, we will, of course, do a special English live stream when we can. For you who don't know me, my name is Ken Erik. I've been with the cryptocurrency universe for quite some long time. I also work with that as a CTO, and I'm also moderator here at Kryptovaluta Norge. It's actually Norway's biggest crypto enthusiast forum, and we have been doing quite some cool stuff. For example, recently we were the host for Cardano Summit, and we, um, we try to connect and teach a little bit. That's my mission. Every day, 9 o'clock in the evening, Norwegian time, I try to share my knowledge. And regards that, we have a visitor here today. His name is Garth Midgley, and we are going to talk a little bit about WonderMan Nation. We're gonna talk a little bit about racing, 22 racing series, and a lot of other stuff. So let's see if I can get Garth in here. Garth, can you hear me?
Yeah, as I can hear you fine. Thank you.
Yeah, great. Okay, there we go. Wow. So welcome, Garth. How are you doing?
Pretty good. It's 6:07 a.m. in the morning here in Australia, so I set two alarms to get up for this.
Yeah,
I might still have my kind of morning voice on. I've got my morning cup of tea here. This is so.
yeah, it's very, very early. Sorry, I had to drag you through this, but we got some very cool a very cool agenda because so to start off, I didn't know that Australia was like developing, and we over here in Norway, we don't think about you guys on the other side of the equator, and
Yeah.
then we had.
Thanks for being honest. Yeah.
And you have to know this is a highly informal live stream. We are having a good time, making jokes, and yeah, just talking crypto, because there are so much to learn and so much to share.
Mhm.
And regarding sharing, so I don't know, I was like last week, I think there were some guys yelling out in the chat, you have to check out WonderMan Nation. And I said, yeah, you always have people chilling in your chat, so like, yeah, okay, I will have a look into it. And then I had the next stream, and they got some more questions regarding this from some different guys. And then I got really curious. So then I had our moderator Thomas try to dig you up, and then we ended up in Melbourne, Australia, right?
Yeah, he dug through Norway, I
Yeah,
guess, all
yeah,
the
yeah,
way down to Melbourne, and yeah.
What do they say? I don't know. Is there a saying in Australia like Kia ora or something like that, or is it like New Zealand? I don't know. Uh,
I
I,
don't know, just no, it's pretty boring. It's like good morning,
it is.
mate.
Oh yeah,
Good morning,
okay.
mate. I guess you could throw a mate. You could throw a mate on the end of it,
Throw
but
mate, then it's totally Australian.
yeah. Hey, on, mate. Yeah.
So, Garth, please tell me, and the Norwegian cryptocurrency community. By the way, we have some Swedish guys as well, and a few Danish also. You have to excuse us for that, but
Yeah,
it's
you got
okay.
you can let them in. That's okay.
Anyway,
Sharing is caring, right?
it is, it is. So tell me, how did you end up in this crypto space? This yeah, this universe. What's your story?
So yeah, it's kind of I think we've got the position of wanting crypto before crypto was invented was kind of our position. So I won't go into too much of the history. You can kind of like pick stuff out if you think the community would like it. But I started in the games industry about 23 years ago now, and it was a couple of years into the industry that I kind of saw some problems with it. Just like the hit-driven business, you make a game, make some money, you spend money making a new game, then you might go out of business if it wasn't a hit. So from very early on, I got thinking about games as a service and how it'd be good to just, if you have a successful game, just keep it going and try to grow a community with that game. And led me to think about in-game advertising. And this was around 2000, and Counter-Strike came out. We were playing that a lot at our studio where I was working. Tantalus Interactive was called. We were
Yeah.
playing Quake 3 a lot, and then Counter-Strike came out,
Whoa.
and it just went through the roof, like the competitiveness. And I was living with a couple of guys that I worked with at the studio, and instead of going out on a Friday night after work now, I sit at home and play Counter Strike. I'm like, come on, guys, like,
so,
let's
so,
go out and hit.
so you're actually one of those guys that again remember Doom and Counter Strike and Quake and
Yeah,
what else? I even had a Commodore 64, Gianna Sisters and
yeah,
Amiga
yeah, yeah.
500.
Yeah, my first console was an Amiga 500,
What?
and like our family first console. Yeah, yeah. It blew my mind when I went to a friend's place. Oh, not a friend's place, a friend of my family's. I didn't have the kid, but went to some kid's place with a friend of my parents, and walked in the lounge room, and he's got an Amiga 500, or he's got computer games on his TV. I'm like, oh my god, like
Wow.
the world.
Oh, eight channel stereo.
I mean, it was huge because back then, if you didn't have 20-cent pieces to go
Yeah.
to the arcade and throw them in the machine, that's it. And I wouldn't have, you'd have like five 20-cent pieces a week, maybe. It's like 5 tries a week. It's like, yeah, so it really changed the game. No
Yeah.
pun intended. Anyway, so back on the story. So yeah, so Counter-Strike came out, and that was the time where I was like, wow, esports is the thing. So that was the business side, and then on the game side, I had this vision for a sort of a different kind of way of doing F1 in the future, kind of like a Wipeout meets Gran Turismo and stuff. Anyway, so we did. So that was the idea from 20 years ago. But then, come sort of 11 years ago, I founded Goat Entertainment with my co-founder Brooke Hodgman. And we did a SWOT analysis, pest analysis, business plan, all that stuff to try to sort out how we'd do this thing, and pretty much the number one risk, besides some legal questions, legal was on one side, but the biggest risk was the fact that we didn't have a digital currency. And we're like, okay, we need a digital currency to make this whole plan work, because we want people being able to sort of jump in from maybe even Norway, for example, and maybe Sweden, but like, all around the world, like America, England, jumping in and playing and maybe pledging $1 to join a tournament, and then that goes into a prize pool. And the idea of using fiat for that was just bonkers. It was never going to work.
Back in the days, I remember I had to have a verified PayPal account to basically do anything, to send anything anywhere regarding, because let's say I paid a little bit of money to get, let's say, early releases into my Amiga.
Yeah, okay. You're part of that special program, yeah. Special program.
Anyway, but so in the gaming industry, they sincerely needed a digital currency to
we need digital currency, yeah, because like games as a service and esports and trading was a thing. I mean, people were playing World of Warcraft and things like that, and it's all kind of done on the side, and it's all sort of on the down low, and it's like, come on, the people want a way to sell their stuff. It was just, the writing was like all over the walls. Like, it doesn't matter which wall you look at, the writing is on it, right? So that was kind of it. So we had this kind of, as I said, we weren't thinking cryptocurrency, just digital currency. And then when Bitcoin was invented, the CTO, Brooke Hodgman, who I co-founded with, he saw Bitcoin and he showed it to me. We both installed the Bitcoin miner and took a look at it. Sorry to say that we kind of like turned it off because it was using too much of our machine resources, and we had to get back to work. And 3D programs use a lot of CPU and GPU. Just saying.
So what was your first impression of Bitcoin? Like, what was your initial thought? Because
well, the initial thought was like, okay, like, yeah, bam, we're here. This is the future.
Did you realize it that like instantly or like after a week? Wow.
No, instantly, yeah, for sure. It was like, okay, it just needs adoption was the thing. It's like, this is the future if it can get adoption. Like, that's all it needs. But this is the technology.
I got to be honest, I was like sincerely. So I got kind of into in the wrong way, because when the MD5 hashes got broken or colluded, there were some guys, they were saying, oh, SHA-256, that's the new one. There is this Bitcoin that they are using. And my entry into, let's say, the cryptocurrency world was that trying to figure out if it's possible to break this, in a similar manner that we did with that SHA-5 did. And of course that didn't do that, so we just mined and it was just let's say a block of transaction for me, and I didn't realize it before maybe, let's say, at least 1.5 years later, that oh shit, we can buy pizza with this.
Yeah. And we did. I mean, not me specifically, but colloquially, yeah. It was pretty big. I mean, but that was the first thing. But then I had a Skype call with Brooke, and we discussed it for a while. Like, hey, look, this is the future. This is like, it's a future at least, but it's not there yet for what we needed it for. Like, as I said, we're in this very unique position where we had a business plan, we had all the game mechanics and all the sort of financial models kind of worked out. We're waiting for something. We're waiting for something to sort of tick all those boxes. So we had a very different kind of mentality coming into blockchain. So we kept our eye on it. Obviously Ethereum came out, kept our eye on that. And again, it just wasn't quite there. So I mean, that kind of leads us into what we have done. But that was the history into it.
So did you realize that yeah, I remember that we had some few games, especially on Android and iPhone, where you like if you needed some credit, you bought 500 and 500 Bitcoin, like in the each time you reloaded.
Hmm.
And I remember it was a huge dump in the Bitcoin price, when I think it was because iPhone they removed from the App Store this game, and then
Yeah.
we fell off the Bitcoin cliff again.
And
Anyway,
it's funny how kind of like how the FUD sets in. It's like people go, oh
yeah.
my god, this is it, it's all over. And then they kind of like an hour later they're like, actually, wait a second, like maybe we should not
Hold
sell, or
on,
maybe
hold on.
yeah, maybe yeah, exactly. Maybe this is the time to buy. Yeah. I tend to not get too, as I said, I think because maybe we've been looking at it sort of through our little kind of like microscope to study it for a while, and we've sort of seen the ups and downs rather than not investing in them. Like we've sort of been invested mentally into
Mm.
the tech, not invested into the money. So we've sat back without the sort of emotional response, let's say. So yeah,
Yeah,
like when there are dips and waves, we don't really get too concerned. Like we sort of looking ahead a bit, I guess.
yeah, it's so cool. Anyway, so you have a very good, let's say, experience from the gaming industry, and now you are what's called a creative director.
Hmm.
What is that creative director? What do they create? Are you the master of creation?
Yes,
Yeah.
I direct it like a puppet master, I guess. No, yeah, it's kind of like you got to wear a lot of hats in the games industry generally, and I think roles are kind of flexible. It's one thing you'll notice even in big games companies. If somebody steps up and sort of starts to fill some boots and they do a good job of it, people generally, unless there's egos involved, but I don't know, they sort of, I guess, like when you get to sort of EA levels or something, like it's very defined. But for everyone, sort of, 100 people or below, it's a bit more organic. So yeah, so in general, the creative director is the one who sets the creative vision. It's like the vision holder for the title.
It's like
So
what they
it's the one
call
that
GDD, like the game design. You
something
like
like
the
that. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, exactly. So there's the other ones who will sort of have the creative vision of what's the like how should the player feel, what should the player be doing, where is it set, why is it set there, what are the rules? It's kind of like
Hmm.
yeah. It's like the person who would go into the Star Wars wiki and say, no, that's not in that's not in the system. So there's kind of that person. But look, as I said, it's very collaborative. Like there's no such thing. Like I've worked in enough games now to know that the game designer or lead game designer is often a bit like a gatekeeper in some ways because the whole studio are creatives, like like from everywhere, like from the top to the sides, all the sides and around. So everyone's just throwing ideas in, and the lead designer is usually the person who can gather all those ideas the best. Because
Mm.
if someone just sits there, well, it probably can work for some people, but for most cases, if you sit there and focus on your one thing and don't
Mm.
listen to the team around you, then you're missing all
You're
these
missing
other
out.
opportunities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I also heard that the best thing about being a creative director is that you can't blame the creative director for anything, because if there's something wrong, oh, that's the back end. Oh no, that's the front end. Oh, the UI. No, no, not my fault. Man.
Yeah.
I didn't think of that.
Yeah, that's true. Like the intangible vision. Yeah, it was those bugs that got us. It wasn't my vision at all. Yeah,
Mm.
I think that's another sort of you're probably right. So to that point, you're probably right. But I think it's a part of a good sort of managing director, let's say, creative director, to work inside the constraints of the technology. To say, okay,
Mm.
well, here's what we can do, here's what we can't do. Like, how can we sort of fit the creative direction to that? And maybe fudge it over this way so we can sort of do more and more stuff as the technology catches up. So
Uh, in my company, we always blame the COO. He's to blame for everything.
yeah, yeah.
Anyway, I've been poking around a little bit on the internet, and I found this the game 22 Racing Series. Can you
Mm.
what's the idea behind it? I think it's very cool because we are tapping into what is it called? It's a fancy word now, metaverse or
Yeah. Fancy word.
virtual reality. Is that like yeah,
Yeah, look,
gamify,
yeah. I'm far out. You're throwing a lot of
game
terms at me.
DeFi, yeah.
Yeah, every single word you just mentioned there, we could talk about for half an hour. Yeah, look, I mean, 22 Racing Series, as I kind of mentioned, was the catalyst for the need to build all this technology. So um, just to kind of put it all in a line, 'cause you mentioned WonderMan Nation at the top of the show, and now talking about this, so I'll connect them together. Yeah, 22 Racing Series was the kind of catalyst for needing this digital economy. We released an NFT sale for that near on 2 years ago. Yeah, it was like
Wow.
near on. Yeah, it was like
Yeah.
February 20. No, what was it? February 2020. Yeah. So that came out, yeah, like a year and a half, 2 years ago, roughly. And that sale went well. We just did the sale on our website. We sold car parts. We sold these really cool technology sort of part packs where it's an NFT end to end. We can talk about that later if we need. But it went well anyway. We sold game licenses. Here's the key point. We sold game licenses as NFTs so that you can own your game license. So having that in your wallet gives you access to download and play the game, and you can sell it if you don't want it anymore. So it's essentially taking game sales and digitizing them so you can have a second-hand game sale market. And there's really some really cool stuff you can do with that as well. Again, that's a kind of a sort of separate question, but often people ask me like, well, if you have second-hand digital sales, they don't get destroyed like a disc, and what's the point? Like, you're just kind of undercutting yourself because no one will buy for you. And there's some really cool things you can do to sort of gamify that experience, but yeah, leave that for now. But anyway, so we sold these game licenses, and it went well. The sale went really well, and people were saying, okay, well, like, great, can I play the game now? So I was like, yeah, all right, cool. So we've got we have our own engine technology that the CTO wrote.
Yeah, I saw it. It's called what you got?
RevGen.
RevGen. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is like kind of a little bit technical, but like if you want to compare RevGen versus like Unity or some other, what is the special thing that you would like to talk for, like an elevator pitch for that?
Well, I guess I'll give you the catalyst, because I mean, I should say when we started, Unreal cost $1 million per SKU, like per platform you put it onto. So that was just like off the charts. Unity, yeah, it's like in the bin, not in our budget. I'm sorry. What else? Unity had just come out, or was just coming out. It was like super basic, like super duper basic. So that's that. But we didn't need all that stuff. Like, we didn't need a lot of stuff that comes in. Those engines are for everybody. It's like a utility vehicle, van, truck with every Swiss knife attached to it, right? We wanted to do this future racing game, so that's the opposite of a Swiss Army knife. Not picking the Swiss
you
here,
want
but
to like narrow it down, yeah?
Yeah, you strip everything out. It's got to be lean and mean and fast and do what it does perfectly. So that was kind of the catalyst for the technology side. Well, look, we just needed to do physics really, really well. And also, I mean, you can look at, it's not exactly the same thing, but you look at the Steam story here. We thought to ourselves, well, if we end up using one of these licensed engines, and then we end up making this digital economy game that is then broadcast as an esport in stadiums or whatever, those engine holders, those engine licenses can turn around and say, well, it's not a part of your EULA, that breaks our terms and conditions, you can't broadcast this, the broadcast license costs like $1 million per showing, or we don't support digital economies in this engine, we're going to shut down your license. Well, kind of similar to the Steam thing. If somebody takes offense to it or wants money out of it, if that kind of we use the term like got you by the balls, I guess, but they kind of have your kahunas, like, so yeah. So we're like, look, we can't, like, if we're going to build this successful thing in future, this is like, going back sort of 10 years, we're going to build this thing that we want. If those people can just ruin our whole business model, on a dime, then that's a massive risk. We can't spend all this time building that just to be taken down. So so that was the catalyst for the engine.
So it's a kind of let's call it like a liberation of your development, because otherwise you are you could be you can, like, if Unity didn't like your engine, if this engine don't like your game, you can actually risk to be like kicked out. You know?
Or imagine if Unity or Unreal do the same thing that Steam just did. It says, no, you can't build blockchain games without engine. That's it. Like, you're out. Like, you're gone.
Game over. Nice try.
So I mean, there's risks with doing it yourself. It's a lot of work. It's not easy. There's a reason why those engines are great, because you can just start with all the toolkit, etc. But it's more like fortifying your position. Like if you've got your own engine technology, that's it. Like you're fortified from that risk.
And then yeah, you mentioned esports. So I see that there have been some tournaments for 22 Racing Series, and you have
Yeah.
they're actually real money prizes. I saw there was there as well.
Yeah. Well, you know what? We've kind of gone off track a little bit, so I want to finish my finish my timeline just to put it into context, and then we'll come back to that.
Yeah.
So we sold 22 Racing Series licenses. People wanted to play it. Using RevGen, we built a driver training program that won some Serious Games awards in Australia, and we got to America to present some stuff over there. Anyway, so we kind of have this engine technology stuff, and then that's like a business that B2B model where businesses have a license backend where they can put in their key, get updates and patches, and then launch it. It's pretty basic, just sort of something not consumer facing, something business facing was fine. Anyway, so we thought to ourselves, look, let's just take that, put a blockchain wallet into it, and then use that as a way to distribute 22 Racing Series. Easy, like we'll be done in like a week, no problem. Fine. one thing led to another. We ended up. Okay, I'll blame Brooke for this. He's like, hey, but we could just do it, like, because he's the CTO. It's his job to be the creative director of technology.
Yeah.
Right? He's like, look, yeah, we could do that, and that'd be fast, but like we could do it like this more elegant way using kind of like a React sort of interface. And I'm like, yeah, look, all right. So we kind of crunched the numbers and we looked at it. And we're like, okay, all right, we'll do a new thing.
Stop searching for the SDK kit. We're doing our thing.
Yeah. I know it was terrible like that. Anyway, so we end up making this thing. I came up with the name Pavilion or Pavilion Hub, and so it just kind of grew. So what was meant to be a simple thing, and we're going to punch out in a week, became 1 month, 2 months. We actually got it out in 2 months. We got it out in April. I'm pretty sure it was don't quote me on this, but I think it was mid-April 2020. 16th or 18th of April, I'm pretty sure. But anyway.
Time flies. Time
flies, yeah. So we got it out, and then it was working. It was there were like bugs in it, but it was working. So we've just kind of like, over time, we've just fixed the bugs. People complained about it, or complained to let us know, because we've had a very understanding community. So people would let us know, we'd fix it, they'd ask for a feature, we'd add it, and it just sort of grew. And then people would ask us, hey, like, that's a cool platform, like our friends in the game development industry. Can we put our game on there as well? So then we made tools and features for other game developers. So that was that. And then, and WonderMan Nation we can touch on this again later, is WonderMan Nation's an IP of mine that I've been working on with like my friends, like collective sort of friends in the industry, through Gody Outsourcing, which is another company that I manage. So we kind of had that on the side for about sort of 9 years. It's our passion project.
Passion project.
So
yeah. That's a good word.
I mean,
I can see on the page. I think you have to be like a little geeky guy or a gaming guy when you see the humor in the website and stuff like that. So it for me, it looks like to me like there's a tight team that probably known each other for quite some time.
Yeah, it's one of those. Yeah, it's one of those things that. I can't really sort of say if you have to be geeky to get it or not. I don't know, but I guess I hope not. But probably you're right. I'm not sure. But it's kind of, we kind of see it as I'm a big fan of like Beavis and Butthead and South Park and just that sort of humor. That's the humor of me and my friends. We take something, we make it ridiculous, and then we take it so ridiculous to see where it breaks. Like it gets funnier and funnier and funnier, and it doesn't. So that's kind of how we've always operated. So I'm kind of that's kind of the WonderMan thing, and there's a backstory to it, but to the characters, etc. But yeah, so that's that. So that's kind of, that puts it all into the nutshell. Like that's
by the way, when you're talking about your team, I see that wow, you guys have quite some some experience. You have guys coming from let's see if I can pick it up off top of my head without cheating here. I saw Konami, I saw Atari, Warner Bros. What do that have to do with gaming? Anyway, I just saw the Warner
Yeah.
Bros. I saw yeah, South Park. You said. What else? Yeah, it was a lot of huge names in industry that you guys, your team, have been maybe they've been working a little bit somewhere, doing a project over there and collected experience.
Yeah,
And
so they're essentially all the IPs that the team have worked on. So yeah, we've worked on that. The point there being like, if you've worked on, it's kind of like each individual experience is good, but then broadly, all of those experiences give you a lot of kind of background and knowledge to draw from. So Bill and the team have worked on titles from Looney Tunes, SpongeBob SquarePants, El Tigre, Nickelodeon, like
yeah,
all these different IPs. It gives you a flavor. Like South Park was one of the first games I worked on that got published was the South Park Rally on the N64.
yeah, wow,
Like you kind of working with all these IPs. There was with the Looney Tunes one. There's a few of that team that worked on some Looney Tunes games, but there's a case where I was doing some like environments and billboards and banners and advertising, and we had the team give us the kind of content for that.
yeah.
And I kind of read it. I'm like, I think it, I think it, I think it could be funnier. So I changed some stuff and we submitted it back to them. I'll be honest, I didn't like. I was kind of I was like more of a mid-level artist at that point.
Yeah, yeah,
Just
yeah.
going back a while, and so we did. I didn't tell my boss. I probably should have. I thought I had a better idea, so I just put it in. But that's not how you work with these guys.
Uh,
They don't like you changing their IPs at all. Like if I've got the content, they got the content. Anyway, they came back to my director at the time and said, "You guys changed the content in the billboards." And I'm like, "Huh? What? We did?"
what?
And they were like, "Yeah, and it's better. Well done."
Oh yeah, it
Yeah,
was
so,
me.
we told him to do
Uh,
that.
totally.
um,
Another thing I
so
just
yeah, so
real
it's kind of it's good to have that experience, and that's kind of what we're going to be bringing to all the stuff we do in WonderMan.
yeah, because I can smell some good humor in this game.
Yeah,
Anyway, another thing. Can we take a few questions here because there are I will just
yeah.
um there is a girl here that is her name is oh my god, I have to cheat because the chat is boiling a little bit here. So I want to say hello from Karina. She says that she probably gonna take a trip to Australia soon because she is very into snakes and reptiles.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I mean, we have a lot of them here. Yeah, like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
the snakes less so in where I am in Victoria, but the spiders visit our house daily. I would say.
So and then we have this guy Mats. So what can I say about Mats? Well, he is this low cap trade. You know, if it's anything that you can trade that is below 50 million, he probably has a bag of it. And
Yeah.
he is asking. Have you seen other gaming project on the blockchain? Like, for example, things going on the Solana blockchain and there's a big hype around this game Star Atlas now, coming
Mhm.
from the FTX. Are you guys how do you guys like when you are a game developer? How do you look like? Are you like using the binoculars? Like, holy fuck, guys! Hey, we
the
need to rewrite the DDD here now.
Yeah, no, it's more of a magnifying glass. Look, what I'd say is you get like when you've worked in an industry for so long, you get a very good sense just by sort of like a glance at it, like what's going on under the hood.
Eh, eh?
But I feel like I should keep those opinions to myself because at the end of the day, they are just my opinions. But I would say broadly is that we're going through a bit of a weird phase in the blockchain gaming market. I guess there will be weird phases until it resolves in the future,
Hmm?
but it's an exciting phase as well, I think. But what I'd say is like there's a lot of people getting involved who don't have any or have very 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 little game development experience, which is great. It's fine. Like It's crypto is for everybody, and that's cool. But
Mm.
that market is a lot more represented. It's overrepresented versus professional studios, and I think that's
Yeah,
kind of a
that's a
weird.
good point. Yeah, that's a good point
Yeah,
actually. Yeah. I
yeah. So
see, I see, you know, like there are projects that they are fundraising $160 million in like the A round, basically just from the back of the website and a PDF, and
mm,
on the PDF and the website is like it's showing off like a triple A game, you know, like it's almost as revolutionary as like Far Cry was back in the days, you know, the engine with the lightning and everything, you know,
mm.
and they are racing. So, and those guys are only from the cryptoverse, you know, most of them are, and they are using like yeah, it's strange they haven't called you, Garth, because hey, we are building a game over here, we need some help and stuff like that. They are,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
It's yeah. Well, and what I was going to get to was, I should say, I worked on the first Far Cry. I don't know if I mentioned that to you
yeah.
earlier. Yeah, I was like artist number 4, I think, hired at Crikey.
I remember that
Back in the
game
good old days.
because it was really toasting my GPU.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
It was so heavy, and you're like, wow, can you really run for? Oh, can you play that game on that computer? Wow.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, if I could say it from the developer inside point of view, it was definitely made for GPUs that weren't invented yet because it wanted to like push the boundaries.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
that makes it very hard to work on if you're making a game and you need to render it with the GPU and there's no GPU existing that can do it yet.
Yeah, yeah. Well, my
It's not.
experience was that I got a lot of good friends, new friends. Like they were like, "Hey, can I stay with you this weekend? can,
Yeah, yeah,
can,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
is this Far Cry still working?"
Yeah, 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 yeah. Is the GPU still working? Not
uh,
burnt yet. Not fried. Anyway, I feel like I just forgot the question. What was the actual question?
yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, sorry. Yeah, I've got it. I've got it. So uh, yeah. So the one hand is the sort of junior studios maybe, and then you've got the marketing teams who can give you all the gloss and
Mm.
sell it, and then when it comes to the actual fundamentals of making a game, they sort of like work that out later. And look, I mean, that's kind of, I guess, fine as well in some ways. It's not my
Yeah,
strategy. I
it's
don't.
not your
I
strategy or philosophy, no.
Yeah, I don't agree with it for me and my team, but like I can kind of see why they do it. I think a bit more transparency would be good in those
Mm.
senses, though. Like, yeah. Again, I
I,
won't mention.
I
I won't
think,
mention I won't mention an exact game, but there was a game uh, in amongst the ones that you mentioned where their sort of sales deck was, let me try to think of the wording, was when they talk about the game studio, they're talking about like how they're going to use Unreal Engine, the team behind Fortnite.
mm,
How is that? That's not a sentence. Like you're going to use Unreal Engine, the team behind Fortnite. So they're kind of making it sound like there's something they're not. And it's like, come on, that's to a game developer, we know exactly what that means. That means you don't have a team.
yeah,
But to
yeah.
someone who's investing, it's unfair because
Yeah, and it's the marketing team working at that present moment anyway. So,
yeah, 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 yeah. So look,
but
anyway, so
it's
that's all
there.
said. Like,
Yeah,
but
I understand. I understand.
yeah.
Anyway, well, oh, there's a few under. There is one from Bacanao. Garth, can you tell us something about WonderMan you haven't told the community yet? That's the hard.
Um, yeah, 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 yeah. Can I tell you something? So I can tell
Uh,
you a
I,
lot of things. How to
I
pick.
I can say one that you like cookies.
Oh, cookies.
Yeah.
Me. Not me specifically. No, 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 no. You're getting me confused with Epic Space Pigeon. Uh, well, one thing that's funny is that the the team can all find a little bit of themselves in each character of the team, and those personalities will sort of be revealed more over time. But
Yeah.
one thing I told you before we chatted yesterday to sort of make sure the internet worked was that WonderMan himself is sort of like the generic all-American hero who's very confident, maybe more confident than competent. Like,
Mm.
but somehow like that. But it's that kind of magical thing sometimes where like having all the enthusiasm and like total sort of assuredness in yourself actually gets you through, by the hair of the chin, kind of.
Uh,
It somehow works out, even if it was accidental. So that's the kind of idea. And then we've got those characters around him who sort of relate to them in different ways, and they all need. It's one of those things where they all need each other. If one of them fell away, Epic Space Pigeon couldn't survive without a WonderMan to be picking on or hating.
I was like just thinking out loud. Alric, have you put Donald Trump into your game now?
Yeah, well, keep in mind this was before Donald Trump was kind of invented. Like but this is the thing. Like this is the parody. Like that character can evolve with the times as well. Like and sort of take sort of parts out of
Yeah,
the real world.
it's just my brain coming up with something. I
it's
know. I feel like
I gotta say with the script for Wonder Man, it's hilarious. Like I've got this thing where if it doesn't make me laugh when I'm writing it and creating it, and I said
yeah,
to the team, if you're not laughing when you're making it, try
uh,
again. Like
try it.
try again until you're just like crying with laughter and you're enjoying yourself. Like that's the litmus test for stuff getting into that game.
Anyway, let's see if I can. I'm going to show the guys now the website for WonderMan Nation.
Mhm.
Oh, that's the wrong. I still in the training when it comes to this streaming tool. Here we go. Anyway, so I really like the this site. So uh, um, quick question. Alt Shift Games,
Yep.
is that this what can I say, unicorn team that with the first
Yeah. This is kind of the all stars. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I would say like if you've been in the games industry, anyone who's been in any industry maybe, or the games industry, game developers would understand this. You've worked with a lot of developers from a lot of different teams over the years. Like, yeah, I lived in Germany for a while, working over there. I've worked with people around the world. So you end up with a couple of A-list teams. You go, you know what? If I was making a game like this, I would want these people on it. So yeah, this is the A list for Wonder Man. Yeah.
That's cool. So tell me, let's focus on WonderMan Nation. Actually, this is the part I'm so excited. So tell me, where should we start talking about WonderMan Nation? Yeah, how did you came up with this? Where did it all start? The characters, and how do you like? Is it just you sit down one evening in the Australian bar with a napkin and you start drawing some characters? How do you
Yeah.
go about doing this?
It was kind of, I guess, it's hard to say what the actual kind of like initial creation was for Wonder Man. It just sort of popped into my head, to be honest. Um, it's kind of one of those things that just creates and self evolves. Like I often find myself like going to sleep at 1 a.m. after working, and just something a little sort of idea starts in my head about like what if Wonder Man was being interviewed, and it just starts to happen. Like I basically start to sort of like get all the script and everything happens in my head, and I'll be there laughing, like trying to go to sleep. I'm like, oh man, like so I get up and kind of write it down and then go back to sleep. So it kind of just evolved, and it's just like a comedy that plays out in my head. And then the main artist for it so far is Gerardo. He's on the pitch deck. He's a great friend of mine. He's from Mexico originally. Um, I met him through another Australian friend of mine. Gavin, who's also on the pitch deck, 3D artist. So I work with him on Transformers projects at Chrome. I was the lead artist. He was on my senior team. He went to Mexico. He met Gerardo. He introduced him to me. Gerardo came to Sydney first. I was creative directing a project up in Sydney called Little Space Heroes, or it became Space Heroes Universe. So I was like creative director, art director of that. And Gerardo and I just hit it off and like friends for life kind of moment. So Gerardo is kind of as wacky as me, but in a different way. So he throws his wacky and I throw my wacky, and it's kind of evolving like that.
I would love to attend some of your parties.
Yeah, they're pretty wild. They're pretty wild. And I gotta say, I mean, Gerardo being Mexican, I'm a massive fan of Mexican food. Mexican food is the best food in the world. It's like it's a party whenever Mexican food happens. So yeah, if you come to one of our parties, it will involve tequila, mezcal, and Mexican food.
Oh yeah. Oh, here comes a good question. So there is this girl, Swanhild. Man, we have so many girls on this live stream.
Yeah,
It's crazy
cool,
to
cool representation, huh? Yeah.
yeah. I love it. And they actually know what they are talking about because did Goatee choose fast plasma chain and why did you choose?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. It's an awesome question. Yeah. So
I know it's a little bit diversion from the topic, but okay, we can.
yeah,
It was so good, so I thought I would pick it up. Very good
yeah,
question,
definitely.
Sonny.
Yeah, yeah, no, yeah. So, yeah. So going back, I kind of talked about how they're looking at Bitcoin, looking at Ethereum, and we kind of left that there. So this picks that up perfectly. So, um, yeah, it was around, I'd go to GDC, the Game Developer Conference in San Francisco each year when it happens. It used to happen. It used to happen every year until recently.
Until recent, until COVID-19, it used to happen.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Actually, I was in the US for what's it called again? I was doing an esports event with 22 Racing Series in San Francisco at what was it called? Anyway, it's a cybersecurity conference. I can't remember what the conference is called, but it's a cybersecurity conference in 2020, February 2020.
Uh-huh.
When coronavirus just hit, and GDC was like 2 weeks later. And as I was leaving San Francisco, they announced GDC stopping. So I was like, because I was going to come back in a few weeks, maybe, or a couple of weeks, maybe. Anyway, so it didn't happen. But going back each year before then, so 2019, 2018, 2017, and longer I've been going, but from 2017 I started meeting blockchain companies that talk about the chains, the game platforms. So I was meeting with the likes of Engine and Forte and different people, right? And yeah, I would have, like I said, I had this sort of old vision of what 22 Racing Series and just what this future digital economy with games was. Like it had been 10 years in the making. So you've got a lot of time to think about it, imagine, riff on it, talk to people, riff on it. You know, it sort of evolved, it was quite established. And I have like a lot of stuff I could talk about. I'd kind of have three things I would want to talk about because I don't want to sort of release everything we're thinking. I would get to point number one on the tech list, and okay, that was kind of possible. By the time I've hit point number two, they're like, "No, can't do it. No, it's impossible. No, it's impossible." And it's like, wow, like it wasn't even just the fact that people would say, "No, it's not possible." It's that they didn't say, "No, it's not possible now," but yes, that's a great idea. We'll work that into the technology that we're building. You know, which is kind of what I would want to hear.
We will fork it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like it was just this kind of yeah, I won't mention the exact team on this one, but like there was one case where I was talking to the team and they were just pitching to me that this is Ethereum at the time, so even then it's a lot more expensive now, but even then it was a case of them saying, yes, you've got to buy all the NFTs from us up front. You have to mint them like a week or two ahead of time, so it takes time. You've got to pay us $1 million for your 1 million NFTs, like $1 per NFT or whatever, and then you've got to sell them to your market. I'm like, and then there's gas fees to send them around. I'm like, this is like, what if I want to sell? What if my game design has consumables as NFTs and like I could go bankrupt. Like this could bust our company in one sale if we don't make a sale. So I actually didn't believe the first person I spoke to from that team. I didn't believe them. I'm like, this can't be how you're doing it. This cannot be. And I went to the next person, after speaking to three people. I'm like, no, this is how they're doing it. And they don't, and they don't want to change it. They're like, no, it's working for us. Like we're making money. Like what do we get? So yeah, so with our game, I kind of like step forward a bit and then come back. So like as an example, as a counterpoint to that, with our integration using Phantasma Chain, we have mint on demand. So developers can have the sort of all the nucleus, let's say, for an NFT sitting there, and then when somebody requests to buy it, they send the money that NFT is created. It's sort of held in escrow, and then the money is given, and then the NFT is given as well, like it's split off. So it just takes away the risk. It's like if a consumer wants it, we make it, we deliver it. So yeah, minting on demand. So to go back a bit, that was my experience with all these other established companies. I won't go into too much of this part of the story, but I spoke to a friend. I was talking to a friend about my experience, and he was like, "Yeah, man, this is bonkers. You're having a lot of trouble." He's like, "I'll help you find it." So he actually found Phantasma Chain for me. He went onto like 1 billion Telegram groups or something. I think 1 billion or or more. And he came across a bunch, and I'm like, no, maybe no.
Maybe.
With Phantasma Chain, I was like, you know what, this could be. Let's have a call. Had a meeting with them, and it was so they were developers. Well, the core guy, Sergio, was a developer on Neo Chain. He left them for a similar reason. He's because they were happy with what they had, and they didn't want to sort of take it to that next level. He was like, okay, I'll leave. I'll do my own thing. So he started Phantasma Chain with some other people to create this sort of next generation blockchain back in sort of 2017. So when we're speaking with them, they had the same vision as us, essentially. Like, yes, what you're saying is correct. That's how it should be, and let's work together on this. So we kind of became a sub-development team of theirs. So they gave us money to develop the NFT technology. So we were the first ones to use NFTs on the Phantasma Chain. We sort of defined some of the stuff we need. They saw it, and they kind of got worked into the chain technology. So yeah, Phantasma Chain was the first chain that kind of ticked all the boxes, and saw that vision and said, yes, that's the way it's going to be in future. Let's work towards that together.
And I must say that must be pretty awesome decision to do in let's say 2017, 17 you said, or 18,
yeah.
17.
2017 they started. Yeah, I think that's when they did Nightmare.
Like yeah, we were just exploring crypto kitties back then.
yeah. It's been weird. It's like I've kind of already pre-told you a couple of stories, but not all of them. But one of the things we found was when we were releasing the NFTs for 22 Racing Series. So that's got like each part of a vehicle. You can build a vehicle out of NFTs. So each part of the vehicle is an NFT: the tire, the rim, the suspension, like the chassis. They're all NFTs. You can bind them in game, and then you can sort of wrap them into a multi-layer NFT, and you can race them as separate NFTs or as a multi-layer, and then you can trade. Anyway, that's technology that we had, going on a couple of years ago now. And when we presented to people, some of these professionals in the other professional, more sort of like, let's say, more financially cashed up studios who have all the awareness, they were just telling us that's not possible. What you're doing is not possible. It's like, it is possible. And we'd send them the Block Explorer to show them in certain cases.
Like, hold my bear while I show you my Block Explorer. Like, you got the TX.
yeah. It's like it's decentralized, and there's the chain, there's all the transactions. So people kind of weren't believing it. So we're kind of honestly, we sort of thought like, oh man, like we've hit AAA straight away. I mean, I'll give you one example. Somebody wrote to me on Telegram. You get a lot of private messages from people for different reasons, right? Someone wrote to me saying, hey, like, do you want to put this WonderMan thing looks really cool. Do you want to put that brand into this racing game that we have? And they showed it to me, and they were saying that they're the first people in the world to do NFTs as 3D vehicles, like, in-game AAA, they'll call themselves. No. And I'm like, so what part of this do you think is new? And then I just sort of like got a bit of information out of them, said, okay, well, here's our other project, 22 Racing Series, and this person's like, oh my god, you've just destroyed me. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Like, so I think we hoped or anticipated that we'd get a lot more attention with that, but I think we're just a bit too early, to be honest.
Yeah,
like
too early.
Yeah, too early. So I mean, it's still there. It's not. I think 22 Racing Series time is in 6 months or something. Like we're building to that, but it's not right now.
There is another good question here. I'm not sure if you are able to elaborate on that, but regards WonderMan Nation, is there any other backings or partners that you have? It comes from the YouTube chat. Do you want to talk something about that, or is it?
Yeah, I guess we can. It's a part of the campaign for WonderMan Nation that we wanted to do it differently. Not just to do things differently, but we wanted to do things kind of better. Like, so one thing that I don't like is, again, like, if you think about someone who's been looking at blockchain space since the start, it was all about decentralization of finance and decentralization of opportunity, and not having having a few people control the finances for the masses. That was why it was invented, right? And it's a good idea. It's a good it's a good concept. So we're kind of, and it aligns with our values as well. So we want to stick to that. So one thing that became very apparent in this space is that you often end up with just a few people, like whoever has the biggest bag of money is the one who gets first dibs at the private round of tokens.
Yeah.
So the more money you have, the more opportunity you get given, right? So
Yeah. The
it's just
rich
kind of,
only get richer.
yeah, it's filtering that
Yeah.
way again. It's like, man, look, I mean, I get why there are, like, I don't hate on people who have made
No,
more
no,
money than
me
someone
neither.
else either. Like, it's fine, but the opportunity should be spread. Like,
Yeah.
everyone should have a
More
chance.
equal. Yeah.
More equal, yeah. So so when we did came up with the idea for the WonderMan token and the idea to sell the tokens, we had a lot of people talking about the private investor round and just getting these big partners, and it just didn't sit well with us. So we ended up making a sort of a private to the public round of that. So, and that's kind of what we're working out. So this is kind of let's
And
call it, it's a concept in progress in a lot of ways.
yeah, and I have to say, I have to give out some kudos for making this decision also, because when it comes to tokenomics, after, so if you had, for example, a huge VC firm backing you from the beginning, they had a huge bag of for tokens, and there are, and it's really cool, to have this company and this logo on the website. But the
Mhm,
price for this, regards to tokenomics, is quite expensive, because a VC firm, they collect money from people who don't know blockchain, and they
mhm,
invest to project, and they are forced, to sell their position as soon as they have some money to give back to the investors.
to dump.
And it's a huge
Yeah.
dump. Imagine that you have yeah, okay, cool, you have a huge VC firm in your back, but they have maybe 20% of circulating supply. In worst case scenario, okay, they have a lockup period for 6 months. After that, they dump 25%, or after that, maybe they get fully diluted. I don't know, but so I think
Mm.
it's good to not have. It's good to have investors with you, but as long as they don't get too large, because when the coin is about to trade, you're gonna have a huge dump if you have like two professionals team with you.
Yeah, no, totally. I
Mm.
mean that, yeah, like you hit on all the points there. So on the one side, having those private investors is good because they have a lot of networks and connections, and you need those. Like
Mm.
they really help to get a project to where it needs to be. But at the same time, you almost want to protect everyone from everyone. We can get into sort of human social game theory and how we all try to game systems. And you mentioned before about, like, the first thing that you tried was to break
Yeah, yeah,
Bitcoin, right? So that's fine. Like, that's human nature. We like to break things and pull them apart, see how they work, and it's kind of like survival of the fittest. Like, if it can be broken and destroyed, then it's got to be replaced by something else. So we have to kind of protect ourselves from ourselves, right? So yeah, so what we're doing with the private to the public round is we're allocating a portion, and we're still kind of working out some of those numbers because we're kind of, like, often with the private round, you just speak to, 5, 6, 7, whatever it is, private
mm,
investors directly. So it's just a kind of a one-way conversation in a lot of ways with a bit of cross-pollination. So in that process, you work out the allocations for each member, and you find out what they're bringing to the table, and how you're going to influence this, and how you're going to connect us with that DEX or whatever. So that's that kind of usual private round, and in that part, you kind of like try to figure out how the percentages will
how
sort of,
the chart pie will look like.
yeah, how it gets
Yeah.
how it gets divvied up. So we're
So
doing that now, but with the public, which is kind of difficult. We started a Telegram group, and people are just going, "It's cool." Like, there's a lot of excitement there. People are like, when's this going to happen? But we're sort of saying, look, we're trying to, like, we've got you. Like, we didn't know how the campaign would go. To be honest, actually, we did this
Hmm?
private to the public just to see, like, would people get behind it? Because if they don't, we won't do it. We had a milestone to meet 1,000 if we to even run it, because if it's less than that, we're like, well, it's not going to work out anyway.
Yeah,
So
no,
anyway,
no,
so we kind of ran it, going, look, if it gets to that milestone, okay, like, then it's on, like, we're doing it.
cool.
But so
I
everyone's
know.
jumped in and they're keen, but we're still kind of working out that final part. But look,
Yeah,
what I'll say is that the public are getting the largest slice
no,
of the
just
pie.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And when you mentioned Telegram, I'm so amused about Telegram users, because you can have maybe a Telegram group that may be like 4 months old, and still the same question comes: which exchange are you listing on? Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Okay, we haven't quite finished the audit of the smart contract yet, so let's see.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's kind of funny. Like we pin posts, and a
Yeah,
lot of
it's
the moderators in
people
now just
people
sort of
don't realize how early they are involved in the project.
yeah. Well,
Uh,
and again, like that's one thing I'd say is like the at the end of this campaign with the private to the public round, we're going to sort of break it down and put it out there to say, okay, well, this is what we did, and this is how we worked. Here's what we've learned from it.
mm,
One thing I'd say is that um, public don't usually get the private round, and that's the difference here. Like, so I think people coming in hearing about the public tokens, they expect us to have. They kind of want it instantly. They want it. They want it after the private people have had it, because after the private token holders get it, then it goes onto the exchanges, and then it gets all orchestrated and organized, and then the public get a go to get the tokens at the higher price, right? So
yeah,
that's kind of what like that's kind of been the expectation for people in this private to the public round, whereas our expectation is, well, look, you're in on the private round, you're on the private round, so you're going to have to be patient with us because this is how this
and
private round works, you know. So I mean, if people get annoyed by that and they sort of drop off, then
that
they're not for it. So I think we have to we're kind of re-establishing the mentality, the mindset
yeah,
around
I
this.
think I think people who want to get into the WonderMan Nation. By the way, I posted the link to the URL to the site now
Mhm.
in the chats, and I said so you have to be here. I think I can say that if you invest in now, you have to have a long perspective on this. It's not something you can flip trade over the weekend or a couple of months. This is a long-term investment, and
Yeah.
I think people should know that. And by the way,
Well, but
how do we get involved in this project? How do we? I have I have subscribed to the newsletter of you. Will we get informed from there, or what do you?
yes, yeah, yeah, yeah. So to go back to something just quickly was when again you're saying, well, yeah, a lot of public people would want to sort of take a token at public and then flip it. This is the private round, so usually the private investor, like you mentioned just before, they
Mm,
buy the token now and then they kind of work with you for a few months. Then you go to the public round, and then you've got your IDOs, etc. Right? So yeah, this is like you can't getting on the private round. You've got to have the same mentality as the private investor who's there to put some money in and go for selling the token in a few months or 6 months or
yeah.
hold out until we hit $1 billion. Yeah.
I won't be surprised if you said one or 2 years. Like like if it's a really complex game or something, you have to like figure out how technical that you have to figure out because from my experience, like when people are developing, like 80% of what we are developing, we throw it away because it's
Mm.
like a blind road. This you have to fix this, you have to do that, and then oh, here is the path, So
Hmm.
development takes time, and but
To,
the
to a
best,
point, I mean,
yeah,
we've done a lot of development before. Like we've got a pretty,
yeah,
I
that's
mean,
you got you are ahead of the curve because you
we've
have
already thrown away those 80%
yeah, yeah,
and
you have
70s
done
and
that
60s
already.
and 50s. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So there won't be much we'll be throwing away. I think that there might be sort of 10% of exploration. Yeah, we can talk about some of the design stuff. But yeah, you mentioned about getting involved in the token. So we ran the private to the public round, which the campaign ended on the 3rd of October.
Hmm?
And that was kind of our cutoff date for that. And we're sticking to that to a large degree. But we've had a lot of people coming in after that. Because, like, I mean, I should say, we wanted to get really early people. We kind of wanted to give people who found us in the first couple of weeks the opportunity to get in on this round and then close it. But look, I mean, it's been cool. We've had a lot of interest and a lot of people coming to us saying, "Hey, I'm too late. Oh my god, I can't believe I love this project." So we actually we haven't announced this yet, but we're going to open up that private to the public round, and like the people who came in before the 3rd of October, they will get a larger allocation.
Mm-hmm.
But anyone that comes in between now and when I cap it at the first 5,000 subscribers, they will get a chance to get an allocation of a smaller amount of tokens. But at least, like, let's say a couple $100 worth or something. So like
Cool,
a small
cool.
bag, yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
the way to do that is to go onto the newsletter, go onto our Twitter, follow those. We'll be announcing this soon, but yeah, just follow those same steps as the first campaign,
mm,
and that's going to be the same steps as this next part of the campaign.
uh, there's a comment here. There's a discussion going on. finding a $20 bill under your car seat that you lost 2 years ago is not considered a long-term investment.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was a side note, but how can we Norwegian and a few Swedish guys and a couple of Danish guys get involved in WonderMan Nation? Is it
And maybe
go?
even a couple of Aussie guys and
Yeah,
girls, who
we
knows?
never know. Yeah.
So yeah, so if you follow the steps on the Twitter, if you put the link to, I mean, you can search it and find it. WonderMan Nation Twitter. We've got some steps on there. So we're gonna try to do everything we do. We try to do it cooler, better, fairer. So the way to do it is you follow the steps. So you've got to subscribe to the follow us on Twitter, retweet the post,
Okay.
subscribe to the newsletter, go onto Pavilion Hub and make an account using. It's very important. Make an account on Pavilion using the same email address
Yeah.
as you subscribe to the email.
Where do we do where do we create the account? Is it at
Pavilion Hub.
yeah? Okay.
Yeah, Pavilion Hub. Yeah. I mean, I guess I can give you all the links and you can post them in the Facebook group afterwards as well.
Yeah. Oh, here I found it. Public download. Follow on Twitter. Retweet our upcoming launch announcement. Join our Telegram and sign up to our newsletter. And then we make the account sign up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so we do a link up. So what's going to happen is I'll maybe explain something to people who haven't done these other sort of ideas on Launchpad. So usually when you get some public tokens on Launchpads, you get a really small window at a very specific time. So the people, it's maybe different for you guys, but in Australia, people set their alarms for 4 a.m. so they can get up and like quickly try to buy, and then the website goes down or something, and then 10 minutes later, the window's closed, and then you get the tokens. And it's a terrible experience. I mean, I think there's a lot of that kind of FOMO mentality built into that system, but like that doesn't align with us. Like we want to make it so that no one buys on FOMO. You've got to, as in like an instant sort of like emotional FOMO. Like you give people a bit of time. So if you make your account on Pavilion, this private to the public round will be made available on there when that updates. Depending on when you signed up, you'll get your window of opportunity. So there's like the first 1,000 subscribers. Then there's the next subscribers who came after 1,000, but before the campaign closed on the 3rd of October. So they will get their token allocations set aside for them first. They'll have at least 3 days to buy them. So they can sort of join on one day. It kind of means if we have any technical problems as well, we can solve them and no one's going to freak out and scream and cry if they miss out, you know. So we've got a few days to get them. No one's setting their alarm for some crazy hour like I just got up this morning. So we've got a few days, and then once that's closed, then it goes to the second cohort. Then after that, it'll go to anyone who's signing on like yourself after the 3rd of October, but before the 5,000, they'll get the third opportunity. So you get each person will get like a few days, and then if there are any tokens left over, because we're kind of making sure there's allocations for everybody. We don't want anyone to miss out. It could be a bit unfair if we say, you're allocated tokens and then they go to buy and all the tokens are exhausted. So we're trying to make sure that there are tokens left over from each round, just to make sure that no one misses out. So then at the end of that, we'll see how many tokens are left over. So we probably will maybe release it to everybody. We'll say like everyone can buy. There's X amount of tokens left at the end of the allocation. Go mental. You can get more tokens or you can not. It's up to you, you know. So that's generally how it's going to run. Yeah.
I'm not gonna create any FOMO, but we had this 21. No, he's 29 years old now, kid now. He was hitting the headlines here in Norway because he participated in the seed sale of Axie Infinity.
Yeah, right. How did he get access to that? The seed round?
So Alexander, one of the co-founder, he is a Norwegian guy, and his friend, he invested. What can it be like? I think $80,000 into Axie Infinity back then in the seed sale.
Yeah.
And
that's a lot.
He's like a 3-digit million guy now. That's insane. So
yeah.
and that's so cool. that's so cool
Yeah,
with the play to earn environment, you know, because and if you have something with a good tokenomics.
yeah, exactly. And I think this is one of those things where I mean, people have been asking me for a while about when Axie was kind of even before it kind of blew up just recently. Asked me at the start, like, what do you think of this game? I'm like, look, I think it's my idea is that it's a good proof of concept. I think they've done a lot of great stuff with it. Um, I said, look, I don't. It's relying too much on new people coming in to buy from the old. It's sort of it's. I don't think it's got quite the tokenomics and the game structure there at the moment. They can always change it, but that was my idea then. And so yeah, so I think we have the opportunity to look at what they've done and take the good bits and fix the bad bits, which is what we'll be doing with WonderMan Nation.
Yeah, that's so cool. Anyway, we've been having so much fun now for 1 hour already.
Oh,
My
well, 1 hour
God,
far.
time flies. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Anyway, Garth, I must say sincerely thank you so much for coming on board here and sharing your trip in the cryptocurrency world and your gaming experience at least. And
Mhm.
I must say, I'm really, really looking forward to follow this project of yours and
Mhm.
your unicorn friends.
Yeah, yeah, the unicorns. I should call us the unicorns from now on.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and
Pigeons,
actually,
pigeons is out, you know, that is unicorn.
yeah, yeah, yeah. The epic space pigeon. Um,
Best regards from Norway and Connecticut.
Yeah, yeah,
uh,
yeah, exactly.
uh,
I'll do a little shout out. I was telling Thomas when we first connected. I'm like, look, I said, look, my favorite band in the world is a Norwegian band. Like my favorite band right now, it's called Leprous. I don't know if any of your
oh, uh,
listeners know of Leprous, but I'm a massive fan of Leprous, and they came to Australia a couple of years ago, and I saw them. And they were amazing. So I love Leprous. So like when someone from Norway said there's a Norwegian channel, I'm like, look, Leprous have given me a lot of musical joy. So
yeah.
I feel an affinity now to Norway. So so shout out to
I,
you guys.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And you sincerely, if you by accident should drop over here in Norway, you know, stop by, and just
Excellent. Where am
yeah,
I?
yeah. Oops. I'm at Oslo. Okay, thanks God, I'm have some fun. Now, then just
I was
give
I
me
was just
some
going to the
noise.
supermarket and
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
ended up here.
Well, I will. Yeah. God damn it! Now again. Happens
Yeah,
all the time. No,
yeah,
anyway, Gert, thank you so much for taking the time. And if it's okay, I think maybe down the road we have to hook up again and see how things going. Huh?
yeah, yeah. Oh, I'd
Uh,
love to. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. Let's connect. Yeah, catch up with development, and I didn't actually get to spill many beans on the WonderMan metaverse, which we touched on, so we can save that for another show.
now we know. Now we have told everybody how to get along and to take part in the seed sale, and maybe we can do a follow up later on where we can maybe get like a little bit exactly into the game. You know.
Yeah, yeah. Get a bit
Um,
juicy. Yeah,
Juicy stuff. But from my perspective, it is not newbies who are creating a game here now. I'm telling you that.
yeah, 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 yeah.
It's sincerely experienced people. So anyway, thank you so much, Gert, for coming on board, and we sure have to talk later. And if we everybody in Norway, will have a beer ready for you any day.
Absolutely. Cool, cool. Yeah, and thanks for having me on the show. I've had a good time.
Excellent. Thank you. Take care, guys.
Awesome. Cheers, mate.
Uh,
Catch up.
uh, let's see. Okay, guys. We got a little bit on overtime, but I want to sincerely thank everybody who participated in this live stream. It got quite so long, but it's because we have a good time over here. And thank you for everybody who asked a lot of good questions. Um, and if there should be some questions that pops up in your head now, especially in Facebook, you can write in the comments, and we for sure will bring it on to the team, or even Garth himself in the foreseeable future, and we'll catch up with it. So I don't know what do you guys think about having this is basically how early it is possible to be early in something in crypto. So I hope everybody enjoyed this and had a good time. With that, I will say goodbye to everybody, and I see you tomorrow at 9 o'clock, and then perhaps I will speak Norwegian again. Okay, bye bye.